Congratulations to you, Dr. Phelps, on being the national winner 2016 for dentistry. How excited are you?
It was exciting being the monthly winner, and then recently finding out I was the city winner. Amazed to find out I was in the top 100, and then extremely amazed and honored to find out that I won the national award as well. So pretty exciting.
You have received great reviews from your peers in the industry. So what drove you to partake in it?
Try to blaze a path just for myself, more importantly. But once I find success or find the answers I'm looking for, to turn around and try to help my colleagues around me find the same path and a shortcut, if you will, so they don't have to make the same mistakes I did to be successful. Dr. Phelps helps. So I'm really big, a teacher at heart and really big mentor, and trying to help my colleagues get to the level of success that they need. And so I love little interactions like this and what the Doctor's Choice Awards are about. It's for doctors by doctors and voted on by doctors. So I truly was honored to have a lot of my colleagues that I have helped reach out and say something nice about me and what I've done for them in their practices.
What inspired you to be a dentist?
Well, I'll tell you what inspired me was an event that happened back when I was in the 7th grade, of all things. A buddy of mine, his mother had signed him up for a Future Dentist of America club, whatever that is, right? Which is a middle school club that I think a dentist in Greensboro, North Carolina had created. He had a son about our age, so I'm guessing he did it to start his son's curriculum path, to start building his CV for college, even at that age. And my buddy's mother signed him up for this class, I think more importantly or this little course or whatever, this club, if you will, more importantly because she was kind of tired of us sitting around watching TV and playing video games all the time. So she signed him up because she wanted to get him out of the house. And he kind of turned to me one day and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to this Future Dentist of America club thing with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What am I doing? I'm just sitting around. Why not? Let's do it." Dentist office, and he had like an old school slideshow presentation for us. So we got to see little slides of his office and his patients and how he helped people and how he changed their smiles and just what it meant to him to be a dentist. And we got to do a little tour around his office, and he had his extraction instruments just kind of laid out on the table, and they were all kind of nice and shiny, if you will. They almost looked like brand new. And I was really drawn to those things, and I was looking at them going, "Ooh, what's this stuff?" And he was kind of describing how he uses them to take teeth out and whatever. And it was amazing. I can't explain it to this day, but just a true blessing. I just had an overpowering feeling in that moment. And I kind of looked at my friend and I said, "You know what?" He said, "What?" I said, "This is what I'm going to do when I grow up." He looked around and he was like, "What? Really? You want to be a dentist?" And I was like, "Yep, this is going to be it." And so I kind of came home that night there in 7th grade and told my mom and dad. I said, "Hey, exciting news. I realized what I want to be today." And they were kind of patting me on the head and kind of thinking it might be the career of the month, as most kids do at that age. But I never let it go. I never shook it. And I always had that determination that I was going to be a dentist. So to be on this side of it and to win the awards that I have here, it's been pretty fun ride.
How long have you been in practice, and what sets you and your practice apart from others?
Yeah, well, I've been in clinical practice for coming up on 14 years. Started out in one office location. The practice I bought into as an associate and early partner back in 2003. I was doing about $600,000 a year in collections when I joined it from the year before. Over the next 6.5 years, I 10 times the business. So grew us to 4 office locations and $6.5 million in revenue. A few years later, sold a couple of those for profit and took over my 2 highest debt lease producing offices, one of which was costing me $35,000 a month in expenses, which was a hard check to write every month. But as they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And so because of that need and having to write that check every month, it was powerful motivation to dig into my practices and figure out my problems. And it gave me some great innovations and ideas, which I speak on today. And the bright side for those 2 practices were that within 3 years, I'd taken them from 1.6 million between the 2 offices to collecting over 6 million between the 2 offices. basically doing with 2 offices what I used to do with 4 offices. It was in January, and I'm back to my original practice, which is doing about $3 million a year. And I've got a plan to take that one practice to $6 million in a year in collections. So now doing in 1 office what I used to do with 4. And so the idea was get out of the growth for growth's sake and try to maximize efficiency and the capacity of each practice, and work smarter, not harder. And so I'd say that's definitely one of the things that sets me apart from others, is I do have more of a business mindset than most of my colleagues. And I ask a lot of the questions when it comes to why and who. You know, why are the things happening? Why are we doing what we're doing? And what the problem is, and why is it a problem? Right, to really get to the heart of it. And who do I want more of as far as new patients go? And how do I do that? And so I've kind of, some people have described me, I'm an entrepreneur. Now, just had a best-selling book on Amazon, grow your practice with, or grow your dental membership plan, I should say, to help new patient numbers. But I'm an entrepreneur who happens to be a good dentist, so to speak. And so part of that is what sets me apart, is that mindset. This is in helping maximize the capacity of what I've got to make myself work smarter, not harder.
What are your unique specialties or expertise?
Well, I definitely think some of my unique talents are that I really understand marketing more than most people do, even most marketers, as far as how to get more dental patients in the door. Not only the right quantity of new patients, but also the right quality of new patients. Somebody who's going to pay your fee and your full fee, right, and still be on your schedule 8 months from now. That's one of the topics I wrote my book on, right? How to go after the baby boomer population, doing something called grassroots marketing, or using wine and cheese educational events at retirement communities, so to speak. It's the preface on why I built a marketing tracking company for my own needs and other dentist needs, called Call Tracker ROI. So I can track marketing and figure out, back when I sold my 2 best offices and took over my 2 worst ones, I was spending like $36,000 a month in marketing, right, for 2 offices and getting 60 new patients for my efforts, 30 at one office and 30 at the other. And so I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know where the problem was. But by using the system I developed with that Call Tracker ROI, well, I was able to identify which side of the coin is the problem, right? Is it the fire alarm, in the sense of, is the house on fire? Was my team not answering and not converting the new patient calls we were getting? Because if we're not answering and not converting, then you're not going to see the patients in the door. Or was it more the security alarm, if you will, in the sense of the marketing wasn't bringing in the right quantity and quality of new patients who were spending enough to justify the expense? And if they weren't spending enough to justify the expense, then the marketing people were just stealing from me, right? So I needed those accountability systems, both from the people I was paying to bring in the leads of these new patients and for my team as well. And that's also why I developed my little golden goose scheduling system as well, to where we actually have a scheduling center now where we schedule my appointments, new patient calls, and from dentists all over the country, and help them get more new patients that they already should be getting because they're not answering the telephone and they're not converting as good as they should. So I'd say understanding that marketing side is definitely one of my strengths. And from an external, internal, and grassroots medium, how to get any number of new patient you need in the door for your practice. My other strength is that I'm very good at understanding behavior and a student of behavior and understanding the why behind people do things. This is why I kind of sought out the authority in this field, Dr. Robert Cialdini, and have now studied under him for the last almost 5 years now. And I'm one of his certified trainers in his method of influence. So digging into his 6 principles of ethical persuasion and influence and trying to set the stage for more patients in our practice to say yes to the request we're going to ask them. Because it's one thing to get more patients in the door, that's fantastic. But if we can't get them back for treatment, what good was it anyway, right? If you put 60 patients in your chair and only 5 come back for treatment, what did you really get for your efforts? Not a whole lot. So understanding the why of the behavior and how to influence more people to say yes to case acceptance, say yes to more Google reviews, to pay their bill today, right? Refer their friends and family. I mean, there's all kinds of things we can ask for. So trying to really understand and be an expert in those 2 things are really what set me apart and are big driving factors for me and my businesses.
Do you believe that collaboration and networking among doctors through services and programs, such as Doctor's Choice Awards, plays a significant role in the success of a modern medical professional?
Definitely. One of the 6 principles of influence and persuasion is something called the authority principle, which means that many times people look to experts or credible authorities to tell them what they should do. Well, many of the times, the way we define what an authority is in our life is they're looking for little cues or trappings of authority, little shortcuts of expertise and success, if you will. And so one of the things, having a Doctor's Choice Award voted on by other doctors in and of itself can present you to your patients as an authority without you ever saying it. I think too many times dentists spend too much time trying to convince the patient why they are the best person or why their office is the best place to get their dental work done. And when you try to convince someone that you are the authority, typically that doesn't come off very well in the patient's mind, right? And it usually backfires against you. But when you have these kind of external things that can present you as an authority instead, that has more power and influence. And the Doctor's Choice Award fits right into that. So when you have reviews by other dentists and other medical professionals in your favor, that has way more influence on the patient's mindset who knows nothing about you, right? Think about a dental marketing piece. And everybody's dental marketing out there looks exactly the same. They're all saying the same things. And the average patient is getting 15 to 20 of these pieces every month. Noticing any difference, they can only decide what's different for us by our price. That's why you get a lot of the price shopper questions. How much is this or that? Contrast that to my advertisements and they say, wait, Doctor's Choice Award, wait, top 100 in the country. Well, nobody else I looked at said they were in the top 100 in the country. Look at all these reviews they put in their ad or on their website by other dentists or doctors who would recommend patients go there. Well, geez, which place am I going to be safe getting my treatment done? These 20 other offices that look and say the exact same thing and have nobody endorsing them? Or this one doctor in this one practice that has other dentists and physicians endorsing them? I think I'm going to go here. So it's just even a little simple thing like that and how people make decisions can have an influence on getting more new patients and getting your existing patients to say yes to their treatment. So I think this is a hugely beneficial program we have here. I'm just happy I was nominated and have been able to be a part of it.
What advice can you give to another on being a dentist or pursuing their dream?
Yeah, my best advice would be to change your mindset about what being a dentist is, right? I think the golden age of dentistry is past in the sense of you could use to get out of dental school, hang up your shingle anywhere, not have to advertise, and be successful, right? We had high enough profits margins as a business that you could be a horrible business person and still have a very great life and do well, okay? But with the age of corporate dental groups, it's kind of changing the landscape of dentistry, both with competition and other things. It's getting very hard and even almost impossible for dentists to compete in the PPO insurance space, right? Because all these dentists who are signed up in these PPOs are competing with these corporate groups. And as you know, the insurance company is not in the business of paying out claims. They're in the business of making money. And so if these corporate groups who have more leverage and buying power because of their size are getting higher reimbursements, right? That means us as dentists are getting lower reimbursements as a result. So the day is coming, and probably right now you're doing 10 crowns to get paid for 8. Well, the day's going to come where you're going to do 10 crowns to get paid for 3. And ultimately, you will not physically be able to produce enough to satisfy your needs, right, for your business. So it's going to be a hard space to compete against. As I call it, the corporate tsunami is coming. And there's really only 3 ways to avoid the wave, okay, of this corporate groups. You got to become part of their wave, meaning join the corporate groups, or if you're in private practice now, you sell out now while you can get some cash for your business. Number 2, you can build up your walls. Okay, which means you diversify, you add more dentists to your practice, you do multiple dental procedures like implants and ortho and sedation and etc. You find a different type of patient, the fee-for-service patient who doesn't have insurance, which is what I spent a good bit amount of time on in my book talking about, how to find these patients. And you get out of the insurance space so that when you do 10 crowns, you're getting paid for 10 crowns. But ideally, you're building up your walls and diversifying so high that when the wave hits, and it's going to hit, it's going to divert the wave, right? It's going to push the waters elsewhere, and you're going to be one of the ones that survive. Or one of the third ways you survive a tsunami, which I'll talk about later, is you're just on a different continent when it hits.
What are your future plans?
Well, my future plans are twofold. From a business side, if you will, as I mentioned before, I've always been kind of a teacher and a coach at heart. And so one of the things I've started is something called the Phelps Institute, where I'm finding that more and more dentists are having to go to foreign countries to get the dental implant surgical training experience they need to feel comfortable providing that service to their patients. And as I said, to survive the tsunami that's coming, we got to build up our walls and do more services. Well, adding dental implant placement in your practice is a huge thing you can do to increase your numbers and kind of protect yourself. But a lot of docs are going to different countries to do that. Well, in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Phelps Institute, you'll actually be able to get all the implant surgical training experience you need on live patients. So my goal is that, we just had a course this past weekend. I had 5 doctors in town who placed 16 implants between the 5 of them. Okay, all of them are super hyped and excited and ready to go back and do this in their practice. And we're talking from edentulous cases. We did a couple of edentulous cases and converting a denture to screw in as a temp hybrid. We did sinus lifts. We did bone grafting. We did anterior, posterior cases, you name it. So the future for me is going to be spending a lot of time training on the Phelps Institute, continuing to teach people how to find the right quality patient through my 2-day marketing events, teaching them the science of influence and how to set the stage for more yeses to the things we need to ask them, and maybe expanding into some other teaching areas like ortho and sedation and whatnot. From a practice side, as I said, one of the ways to survive the tsunami is to really understand your market. And my market, which should be your market, is those retirees, those baby boomers who don't have insurance and are not coming to the dentist right now because of that. Well, having what we call a dental savings plan or in-house membership discount plan is a great way to attract those patients. But one of the things I realized was that how many of those patients would come to me as a dentist if I came to them. And so what I'm working on now is talking to independent, active living retirement communities. So not assisted living, not graduated care, or not nursing home facilities. And convincing them to let me put mobile dental equipment on site. And I'm going to create these little mini dental offices around as a kind of a 5 to 10 mile radius around my practice. And then I'm going to have my associate dentists rotating around as the demand needs. So what I'm trying to prove is that this is a profitable business model, and that if you had 4 chairs in a retirement community, you could produce just as much, if not more, than you could with 4 chairs in a standard brick and mortar practice. With the benefit being with 1/10 of the overhead and investment needed to get it going. So that's going to be my kind of clinical project, is growing my practices throughout these retirement communities. And if you used to watch old cowboy movies, kind of heading the market off at the pass, if you will. So once I'm entrenched, it doesn't matter how many dental offices or corporate groups are around me, they're not getting to that patient base because I'm already there. And then I'm going to teach you how to do the same.
Thank you, Doctor.